Hello everyone, today I'm going to tell you the story of a single mother named Hoai. I hope you enjoy the video. Ever since Tusan patiently taught her how to bake, Hoai had become almost addicted to the feeling of kneading dough and smelling the sweet aroma drifting from the oven every early morning. Each batch of freshly baked pastries filled her with a joy that was hard to describe. The feeling of creating something beautiful and delicious made her heart flutter. Every few days, Hoai would bring trays of cakes to sell at the market. At first, it was just a few small batches to test the waters, yet surprisingly, the market-goers loved them. They praised the soft texture, the fragrant smell, the perfectly balanced sweetness, and they kept coming back for more. Those simple compliments boosted her confidence and fueled her growing passion. On quiet evenings, sitting on the porch with a cup of tea, chatting with Hoai began to reveal a dream she had long kept hidden. She wanted to have her own little bakery, a place with warm golden lights, the smell of freshly baked cookies, and a few wooden tables for customers to sit and enjoy. She smiled shyly as she spoke, because to her, it wasn't just a dream, it was the hope of changing her life. Sat beside her, watching her talk with gentle admiration. He knew Hoai wasn't someone who casually spoke about dreams unless she truly meant them. And he understood better than anyone how hard she had worked, how persistent she had been, to make every pastry perfect. He placed a hand on her shoulder and said, with a warm and steady voice, "Go for it, Hoai. I believe in you. One day, you'll definitely have your own bakery, and I'll be the first one standing at the door to support you." Hoai froze for a moment, then laughed softly, touched by his words. Hung's faith in her was a motivation far stronger than any compliment from the market. She didn't say anything more, she simply leaned her head on his shoulder, her heart overflowing with love and renewed strength. From that moment on, the dream of a bakery was no longer just a fleeting thought. It became a real goal, a small path, but one filled with hope, shaped by her baking hands and by the man who quietly stood behind her. That afternoon, Hoai was in the backyard garden, her hands covered in soil as she tended to a row of new flowers. A gentle breeze brushed through her hair, and the soft golden sunlight blanketed her shoulders. Just as she was pulling out weeds, her phone vibrated nonstop in her pocket. She wiped her hands quickly on her shirt and answered the call. Hoai oi. Tusan's excited voice was so bright that Hoai immediately sensed something important. "San? What's got you sounding so cheerful?" Hoai laughed. Tusan took a breath, as if gathering courage, then spoke quickly, filled with excitement. "Do you want to open a bakery together with me?" Hoai froze. Her hand still rested on the flower stem, completely forgetting to pull it back. A few seconds passed before she stuttered. "Huh? Me? Open one with you? Are you serious, San?" "I'm serious." Tusan replied instantly, her tone firm, though tinged with nervousness. "I've thought about it a lot. I can manage on my own, but if it's with you, I truly believe the bakery will be so much better. You bake well, you understand the market. I want us to build a warm, beautiful, joyful place together." Hoai was stunned. Her heart pounded as if she had just run a long distance. The dream of opening a bakery had always felt far away, yet suddenly, someone was reaching out, offering to turn that dream into reality. "But I'm not sure I'm good enough. I only sell little things at the market," she said softly, worry mixing with excitement. On the other end, Tusan chuckled, her voice steady, like giving a promise. "It's okay. I'll come over and we can talk it through. We'll learn together, work together, figure it out together. I know you can do it. And honestly, I want the person working beside me to be you." Those words made Hoai's throat tighten. She stood in the garden, cheeks flushed in the warm afternoon sunlight. "San, thank you. I never thought you'd think of me like that. I'll come over this evening, okay?" Tusan continued eagerly. "We don't have to decide anything right away. I just want you to think about it." The call ended, but Hoai remained standing still, like someone who had just heard unbelievable news. Her heart throbbed with excitement, fear, joy, and hope all at once. From afar, Hung walked into the garden, calling out. "Why are you standing there frozen like that, Hoai?" She turned around, and in her eyes sparkled something entirely new, as if life had just opened a new door, a door smelling of warm pastries and filled with hope. Evening settled softly over the house, yet Hoai was still so nervous that she kept standing up and sitting down, wiping the table and then wiping it again. She had just finished preparing a pot of tea when the sound of a motorbike echoed at the gate. She stepped outside and saw Tusan and Hoai walking in, both wearing warm, friendly smiles. "Chi Hoai." Tusan hurried over, grabbing her hand. "I'm here." Hoai nodded politely. "Hello, Chi Hoai." Hoai quickly invited them inside, her hands trembling slightly from the lingering excitement of the afternoon phone call. She poured tea into 3 cups, placed them on the wooden table, and tried her best to sound calm. "San, Hoai, have some tea." "You two came really fast, I thought you might be busy." Tusan glanced playfully at Hoai, then grinned. "I dragged on Hoai along just in case. Because today, I want to talk to you seriously." Hearing that, Hoai grew even more anxious. She sat down across from Tusan, clasping her hands on her lap. Hoai, sitting beside San, gave a reassuring nod, his eyes gentle. Tusan took a deep breath, and when she spoke again, her voice carried the weight of a girl holding on to a big dream. "Chi Hoai, these past months, I've seen how good your baking truly is. You bake with your heart, that's why customers remember your cakes so well. Watching you, I feel like if you had a chance to do something bigger, you would succeed." Hoai blushed and lowered her gaze. "You're exaggerating. I only bake to earn a little extra." "No." Tusan said immediately, with surprising firmness, "You have passion. And I see it clearer than anyone." Hoai then spoke, his voice low and steady. "What San means is, we want to open a new bakery. A separate shop, bigger than San's current one. And Hoai, you would be standing beside San from the very beginning." Hoai froze. Her fingers tightened unconsciously. Tusan continued, eyes shining like a small flame. "I want you to work with me. We can divide the tasks, I'll handle cakes and Western pastries, you take care of daily sweets, fruit cakes, and traditional ones. We'll choose a location together, decorate together, build our brand together. I don't want to do this alone. I want you to walk with me." The room fell quiet. Only the wind outside and the soft clinking of teacups broke the silence. Hoai swallowed. She looked at Tusan, at those sincere eyes, without a hint of selfishness, then looked at Hoai, who simply nodded as if to say, "Believe her. She means every word." "San, why did you choose me?" Hoai asked, voice trembling. Tusan smiled, answering without hesitation. "Because I believe in you. And because I want your dream to come true." Hoai's breath hitched, her eyes suddenly misty. Before she could reply, Hung walked into the house after being out somewhere. Seeing everyone sitting so seriously, he blinked in confusion. "Huh, what's going on here?" Hoai turned toward him, her eyes filled with uncertainty, hope, and a happiness quietly blooming. Clearly, a major turning point was unfolding before her. Tusan looked at her for a moment, then tilted her head with a bright smile, her eyes curving with excitement as if sharing her strength. "Chi dung lo gi het," she said, then glanced at both Hoai and Hung, "because I already talked with the two of them." Hung, who had just stepped in and still had no idea what was happening, straightened immediately when he heard his name. "Wait, what did I agree to, San?" he asked, bewildered. Tusan burst into a laugh, then explained clearly. "It's like this, Hoai and I will focus on baking, creating new recipes, and managing quality. As for finding the location, renovating the shop, installing equipment, setting up shelves, and paperwork, that's all for Hoai and you." Hoai nodded instantly. "That's right. You and San just need to focus on the baking. We'll handle everything else." Hung, though surprised, quickly brightened. He spoke without a shred of hesitation. Exactly. If you're opening a bakery, I'll take care of everything for you. Anything heavy or difficult, leave it to me. We'll make the shop super pretty and professional. Hearing that, Hoai froze in disbelief. She raised a hand to her mouth. Really? You two will help us with everything? Her voice trembling. Hai looked straight at her, his tone sincere. Don't worry. You and San have the talent and the passion. Building the shop, that's our part to bear. Tusan leaned forward, squeezing Hoai's hand tightly, her voice soft yet full of determination. So don't feel like you're doing this alone. We're doing this together. You and I handle the baking. Hai and Hung handle the rest. Will you say yes? Hoai could no longer hold back. Joy, relief, and deep emotion blended into a warmth rising in her chest. Her eyes stung as she nodded, strongly, almost too fast. I agree. Truly. I agree. She said, her voice trembling with excitement. Tusan immediately hugged her tightly. I knew it. I knew you could do this. We'll make the most beautiful bakery ever. Hung watched the two women hugging and laughed happily. He stepped closer and gently patted Hoai's head. See? Your dream is finally coming true. Hai smiled as well, his voice calm yet full of faith. Welcome to your new journey. And in that simple, heartfelt moment, inside the small warm room, a dream was truly planted, nurtured by 4 people determined to help it grow into reality. The next afternoon, just as she promised, Tusan arrived at Hoai's house carrying a big bag full of ingredients. Hai and Hung were busy rearranging their schedules to go check potential shop locations, so the two women were free to take over Hoai's kitchen. Chi. Today let's try making our signature items. Tusan set the bag down, excitement bubbling in her voice. Hoai opened it, cream cheese, matcha powder, ripe mangoes, vanilla, whipping cream, caramel. She burst out laughing. San, did you bring the whole bakery here or what? Well, it has to be delicious. Tusan pouted, but her eyes sparkled brightly. They started with a matcha cheesecake. Hoai carefully measured each gram of flour while Tusan whisked the eggs so vigorously that foam splashed onto her own face. Hoai jumped. Goodness, San. Let me handle that part. Tusan blinked innocently at her, and then both of them burst into laughter, holding on to the table for balance. When the batter turned silky smooth, Tusan beamed. Believe me, if this turns out good, it has to be on the menu. But when the cake came out of the oven, the top had cracked open like a desert floor. Hoai stared silently while Tusan widened her eyes. Is it mad at me or something? This time, even Hoai couldn't fake a straight face. She sighed, and then burst into laughter. Probably sad because you beat the eggs too aggressively. They laughed until their stomachs hurt, then started over. The second attempt turned out perfect, smooth top, lovely green color, and a gentle fragrance filling the kitchen. Next came caramel flan. Hoai poured caramel into the molds while Tusan whisked the milk and egg mixture. But the moment Hoai turned away, Tusan screamed. Chi! Why is my pot boiling over like a volcano? Hoai rushed over and immediately shut off the stove. Caramel splattered across the counter. They cleaned while laughing in embarrassment. When the flan was finally unmolded, it jiggled softly, its caramel top glossy and golden. Tusan cheered. Chi Hoai. This would totally sell out. Lastly came the mango cream cake, the one they had high hopes for. Hoai assembled the cake base while Tusan arranged mango slices into a flower. But just before they finished, Hung walked in, calling loudly as he pushed the door open. Hoai. You have. The sudden gust from the door made the turntable spin, and the mango flower slid, then fell splat onto the floor. Hung froze. Tusan's jaw dropped. Hoai stared, then burst into laughter first. Hung, Do you have something against mango cakes or what? She said, wiping tears of laughter. Hung wanted to sink into the floor. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was that unstable. The atmosphere turned even more cheerful. They redid the mango cake together. This time, the mango flower came out so beautiful that Tusan had to take a dozen pictures. Hoai looked at their work, her heart glowing with happiness. She turned to Tusan, speaking softly yet full of emotion. San, if every day could be this joyful, I think our bakery will be wonderful. Tusan hugged her tightly. I believe that too. We can absolutely do this. And in that small kitchen filled with sweet scents, the dream of a shared bakery was taking its real shape. Opening day came sooner than Hoai could have imagined. From the moment the sun peeked over the bamboo grove, the bakery lights were already on. The new signboard, hung just yesterday, still smelled of fresh wood. The words Hoai Bakery stood out under the morning light, catching the eyes of everyone passing by. Hoai wore a cream-colored apron that Tusan had sewn herself. She had been in the kitchen since dawn, kneading dough, opening the oven, checking each batch. The smell of butter, vanilla, and caramel filled the entire shop, blending with the footsteps of early customers strolling in even before opening time. Hoai, where should I put this batch? Tusan rushed in, her hair tied high, her face glowing. Left shelf, San. I'll bring the next batch right away. Hoai answered with a smile that never left her lips. She had been smiling all morning, so much that her cheeks felt tired. But she didn't mind. This happiness, she wanted to hold on to it forever. At the counter, Hoai adjusted the congratulatory flower arrangement. He peeked into the kitchen and saw Hoai moving briskly, smiling like sunshine. He said to Tusan, "She's really happy today." Tusan grinned proudly. Not just happy, this is her dream. In the kitchen, Hoai pulled out a tray of butter cookies. The heat flushed her cheeks pink, but her eyes shone with excitement. Customers outside were growing in number. Each time the small doorbell chimed ting-ting, her heart raced with joy. Hoai. Hung dashed in from the counter, the mango cake is up next. Do we still have any? Hoai handed him a whole tray. Yes. Here. Sell these first, I'll make more. Watching her, sweat on her cheek but a smile brighter than the bakery lights, Hung felt his heart swell. He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Are you tired? If you are, rest for a bit. Hoai shook her head, smiling so hard her eyes curved like crescents. I'm not tired. I'm so happy I could cry. Let me keep going. Tusan, overhearing, couldn't help grinning so wide she nearly hugged her again. Customers kept pouring in until there were no seats left. Some praised the softness of the cakes, others admired the cozy shop, and one even said, "Oh. You used to sell at the market, right? Now you have your own bakery, congratulations." Warmth spread through Hoai's chest all the way to her fingertips. She bowed in gratitude to everyone, then hurried back to the oven, her hands moving non-stop. That sight, a small, gentle woman standing in a bright kitchen, busy yet glowing with joy, made Tusan, Hoai, and Hung fall silent for a few seconds. Because today, Hoai's dream was no longer just words. It had become real, shining under the bakery lights. And she was the one who made it come true with her own hands. When the bakery finally closed for the day, the soft glow of dusk spread across the tiled floor like a warm golden blanket. The sweet scent of pastries still lingered in the air. The machines had fallen silent, the customers had all gone home. Only a gentle stillness remained, a kind of peace Hoai had never cherished this deeply before. She sank into the wooden chair by the glass window, letting her entire body relax after a day so busy she didn't even have time to drink a full glass of water. Her hands were still trembling slightly from all the kneading, but her heart was overflowing. She looked around the shop, every picture frame, every display shelf, every little hanging light, all of it was the work of the four of them. Every corner held a memory, The spot where Hung once dropped an entire bucket of paint, the corner where Tusan laughed until she cried after a failed baking attempt, the place where Hoai stood adjusting the signboard until late at night. All those images rushed back, and Hoai couldn't help but smile. A small smile, but filled with pure happiness. She placed a hand over her chest, feeling her heartbeat still racing from the excitement of the day. People kept saying she'd been running around nonstop, so busy she couldn't catch a breath, yet she had been smiling the entire time. But only Hoai knew, it was genuine joy. It was the dream she once thought she could only dare to keep in her heart. I can't believe I actually did it, she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. The back door opened softly, and Hung stepped in with 2 cold drinks. He didn't say anything at first, just placed one can in front of her and sat in the chair beside her. He looked at her for a moment, and seeing that gentle smile on her face made something inside him soften. Was today really that fun? He asked in a low, warm voice. Hoai nodded enthusiastically. Fun to the point that I almost cried. The whole day felt like a dream. You deserve it. Hung replied, pride shining in his eyes. You smiled all day, everyone complimented you, seeing you like that made me happy too. Hoai lowered her gaze, fingers tracing the cold surface of the can. It's all thanks to everyone. Without San, without you. I don't think I would ever have had a day like this. Right at that moment, Tusan poked her head out from the kitchen, her hair slightly messy, her face tired but glowing. Don't start with that, Chi. You were amazing today. Amazing to the point of fainting. Hoai followed behind her, arms crossed, giving Hoai a warm smile. Congratulations, Chi, bakery owner Hoai. Hoai's eyes turned red as she looked at the 3 most important people in her life at that moment. She stood up and bowed deeply. Thank you, truly. Today is the happiest day of my life. Tusan rushed forward and hugged her from behind. Hung placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Hoai smiled, his eyes full of quiet admiration. And in that cozy bakery, as the last light of the day brushed across her cheeks, Hoai knew she had truly stepped into a new chapter of her life, one where she could live her passion, be loved, and be believed in. A perfect opening day. A perfect happiness. A dream that had finally blossomed. Tulip.
Lưu ở đâu mày?
Không biết lưu ở đâu. Cái máy của Sơn không tìm được lưu ở đâu. Qua chục quá trời mà không biết lưu ở đâu hết. Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì cuối video mình muốn đọc một bài thơ. Trăng đã ngủ xin đừng đánh thức, tình đã chết rồi nhắc lại đau thêm. Tay ôm nửa mặt trang sầu, có yêu mới biết tình đầu khó quên. Mấy cái bài thơ về tình yêu nó dở mà nó xến không bằng bài thơ của... Để mình tìm bài thơ nào hay hơn. Mình đọc cho mọi người nghe nha. Dở quá. Mình đang là tìm. Đây. Cảm ơn mọi người nha. Mình kết thúc video này ở đây đã.